next thing on the itinerary, because it is getting late, Microsoft buys ZeniMax Studios, which is the parent company of Bethesda. So this month, Microsoft Xbox finally bought ZeniMax Media, the parent company of Bethesda, for $7.5 billion. The fear among gamers is Xbox exclusivity on beloved Bethesda properties such as Elder Scrolls, Fallout, or Doom, to name a few. But according to Phil Spencer, head of Xbox, existing properties will be optimized for Xbox, but they're under contractual obligation to continue releasing those games on other consoles. But they did say exclusivity will be given only to some new properties created by Bethesda's and all of the other companies the production companies that are under ZeniMax Studios. What are your guys' thoughts? Are you for it? Do you not care? Do you think this will affect you in some way? Do you think Xbox is going to kind of come in and be corporate and ruin Bethesda? What are your thoughts?
I don't think so at all. I honestly think that Xbox has kind of showed its hand in the last couple of years of really playing ball with everyone around them. The relationship they've grown with Nintendo, allowing multiple of their games on the Switch console, and then really opening the door to help Nintendo with crossplay, and kind of being trailblazers when it came to putting Minecraft on every platform after they bought Mojang as well, and not bringing it to every platform, but allowing it to, and then even always trying to reach across the table with and trying to get Sony to play along when it came to pulling them into Minecraft crossplay. I think that we're going to see possibly timed exclusivity, if anything, but I highly doubt we're going to get anything outside of maybe one big franchise that comes out of Bethesda that will be known as an Xbox franchise, and only those really in the know of industry gossip or whatever are going to think that PlayStation missed out. But it won't feel any different than going to the store, seeing the PS4 logo above Spider-Man and wondering why you can't get it for the Xbox. Be like, well, that's the way it's been forever. Yeah. Sonic wasn't on Nintendo, Mario wasn't on Sega. That's just
Just the way
so it's gonna feel like that forever. If any, I mean, maybe somehow they finagle their deals to where Fallout 5 or Elder Scrolls 6 is on the Xbox for holiday season, and then the next March or May or whatever it comes out on PlayStation, or a year, but for the most part, no, they're not going to be withholding. I mean, there's too much money on the table to be real for any of this. Way too much money on the table to be withholding it that way.
I completely agree. As far as single player games go, I think, for the holiday season might be exclusive to Xbox. And then when the holiday season's over, be like, okay, where's more money to be made if we take this game and put it everywhere? Right. As far as like multiplayer games go, I think since crossplay is the wave of the future, I don't think it's going to make a difference at all for most of us, because no matter what console we're going to be on, we're going to be able to play with the other consoles anyway.
Yeah, I feel like at this point it's almost a nail in the coffin. If you put like a multiplayer focused game on one system, you're done for.
Yeah, you're never gonna sell it.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And that's my 2 cents. As long as they don't touch Fallout, I'm good.
Absolutely.
Don't ruin the Fallout franchise. That's all I care about.
That's
as long as all their games only come out about 85% finished, perfect.
Okay. All right. Yeah. That was only 76, and they fixed it.
Oh man, that has been a tragedy in gaming as of late, right? Publishing them before they're complete, and I think that they need to realize that you just can't do that. There will always be problems with it, and it'll ruin a game. Look at Cyberpunk.
I was just gonna say I bought Cyberpunk and I didn't play.
I'm so sorry.
I mean, it was fun while I played it, but there were so many things wrong with it and so many just weird things going on that I just couldn't keep up with it. And I was just like, whatever. I haven't touched it since, even though they have said they fixed it. I think that a lot of these studios are getting pressured from fans. And I think fans need to realize, hold your horses, dude. You keep pressuring these studios into releasing games that are incomplete and then getting mad that they're incomplete. Okay, if you don't want that, then chill. Problem solved.
I think we've also seen a lot of developers who have come out and basically said that it's a money game, that the decisions keep getting made from above the people who are creating the games.
Oh,
yeah. And that it's that, we need a product out by this point. You want to have a job next year? You need a product out by this point. And games, they're getting more expensive. They're getting bigger. They're getting harder to make. These guys are getting overworked like crazy, and then they get blamed for putting out subpar material when in actuality, they just didn't have the time. They couldn't. They did a lot of these studios are just doing the best they can to get something out the door and cross the finish line when they're told they have to. When they're told they don't have another opportunity.
Which is why the best games that come out are the ones that were, years in development and had no time restraints, had no benchmarks or anything.
Which is one thing that I think maybe be a really good thing that comes out of this acquisition is because when the publishers who end up owning these studios are the first parties themselves, the console makers, there ends up being less of a bottom line being on the release dates. Obviously, they're still important, but we've seen this a lot with Sony's first party studios. Is like their relationship with Naughty Dog isn't based around we need a game at this date. It's we need a game when it's done. And they give them the time. And you almost never see a broken game come out of a Sony first party studio. It just doesn't happen because they give them what they need. They give them the time they need. And I'm hoping that, because we don't have a lot of experience seeing Microsoft first party stuff, because most of their big acquisitions have been in the last 2 years or so, and they've been kind of ramping up. So we'll start to see if they have a similar outlook on the companies they're overseeing, because I think while competition is healthy and it's gonna, it only makes for better games for gamers. I am worried about the idea of maybe missing out on something, but that's been my whole gaming life. I've never had both consoles. It's never gonna, so it's always gonna be a part of it. But the idea that these guys are gonna be able to have the money they need, the time they need, the resources they need to put out things that aren't nearly as broken anymore, because they have the support of the game industry itself outside of the third party developers, who seem to be the biggest push. That's why we get the more broken stuff out of EA or Ubisoft or these other companies.
Another thing that I was going to point out really quick is that these games, a lot of story games at least, are starting to feel like, AAA movie titles as well. You know what I mean? They're starting to be full-on productions. And now that we have big companies like Sony and Microsoft buying out smaller studios, we're just going to see better and better content with more and more money. And we're going to have things like, the Avengers series, for example, is one of the greatest movie series of all time. I think it might be the best-selling movie series of all time, just because of how many movies there are, but
Avatar made a comeback, surprisingly.
Avatar,
the blue people, not the great Airbender.
The Airbender one's awesome too.
Airbender one's great. I'm surprised that that's not the bestseller, but apparently Avatar came up. It got a second wind, and it outsold the Avengers movie once again, and is now dominating the global market. It's like, what? Avatar?
Haven't seen that movie in ages, but go them.
Yeah. Sock it to them.
Yeah, but the point that I was gonna make though is we're starting to see in the movie industry, one company owning a huge franchise that just makes them millions of dollars, in the amount of time and effort that they spend on these movies to be perfect is what we're gonna start seeing in video game titles, in AAA video game titles, where we're gonna see not a single thing broken with this game because of how much money it's going to make now that it's a very well polished final product. So I think there's no room but up.
Yeah, definitely. Because you not only is it voice actors anymore, now you're getting actual celebrities who are coming out in these games, right? And like you said, they're just as good as movies, even better. For I guess it's based on the beholder, but it's a movie that's interactive. You're in the movie, because you're right, some of these stories are incredible. That I've played games where I've gotten emotional towards the end of the game, right?
Of course, yeah.
And and I was thinking a little bit too, I could give a little bit of information on ZeniMax, because I played the Elder Scrolls Online, and I remember a lot of people who, in the beginning, when they played the Elder Scrolls Online, they were like, well, it's not Bethesda though. They were worried about that. And I remember that in the beginning, the game was not well done. There was a lot of bugs. There was a lot of issues. It felt very empty, right? But ZeniMax, over the course of these years, have done a good job giving the community what they've been asking for. It's not perfect, but they've been doing great. The game doesn't feel so empty anymore, and especially when you have to compete with a titan like World of Warcraft. That was the bar. The bar was set that high. Blizzard has had the opportunity of being that titan and staying up there, and it's easy for them. So when you have a new MMO coming out, it is quite the feat, and I think ZeniMax did that very well. So having the backing of Microsoft, I'm really curious to see their potential from there.
I think there's a little bit of a get out of jail free card with some MMOs, as long as you hit right out of the gate. If you hit out of the gate, then you're given the opportunity, like there's the built-in knowledge that you're going to keep getting better, that you're going to keep adding more. Something like Cyberpunk, while it may have had, it may have expansions in the future, that's not the point of it, so you get your first impression and that's all you get, and so while there's other examples of games out there that have kind of missed the mark out of the gate, and then given the time they're able to fix it. But I think it comes down to the fan base and the audience being able to have the same patience that maybe fans of other genres have given their games. What was that one? It was like a space mining game that everyone thought was going to be the
No Man's Sky.
Yeah, No Man's Sky, where everyone thought it was the second coming of Christ when it came to video games, and it turns out that it
apart.
Yeah, no, it turns out it was like a more mature space Minecraft. It was pretty bare bones, but I mean, it wasn't the worst, but it was definitely a really cool thing for the one mechanic they were building upon. I mean, it was a really small team, but then over time they went, okay, they laid out everything that the fans wanted, they disappeared, stopped talking about it, and then 4 or 5 years later, or however far it's been out from that game, you have a very impressive product, but you don't have the number of people behind it that you did when the hype was as high as it was.
Yeah.
So I think
Fallout 76.
I think a lot of the time you wind up the gaming community ends up being its own worst enemy.
Absolutely.
Yeah, because right in that hype wave is tricky. You have this time frame, and the gaming community, they're not the friendliest of people, and they're very impatient, and they're wanting the best quality service right now. Right now, or else they'll move on to the next new shiny thing, right? So it's a difficult market to definitely sell to. But I think that's why in the world of Steam, like you're seeing a lot of early access games. Like early access is becoming the norm, or which is like just a beta. Basically, you're getting the beta game, and that's the new norm. A lot of people who see early access, I would say they're even more sympathetic. Like they even know like I know it's early access, so I'm willing to be patient. Like Ian was mentioning, that's so true. But like when you're used to the traditional AAA title, like people want the best right now.
And that holds true for a lot. I know Minecraft stayed in a beta form for years and years and years. And I'm pretty sure, I could be wrong, but I'm pretty sure Fortnite isn't on 1.0 yet, right?
No, in fact, most battle royales are not out of beta. They all say beta.
Yeah, Louis was talking about that before, how that's kind of like the thing right now is to release games on beta, and they just keep improving upon it. And, it sucks you in an incomplete game, but then the game is growing, and, as it continues to grow, you stay sucked in because, I mean, the game is changing constantly and it's improving constantly. So it gives them as an opportunity to give an unfinished product and continue to build on that while you're being ultimately bled dry. I mean, having fun doing it, but still, that game will never go away until the end of time.
And unfortunately, you can't do that with story games, and that's the tricky part. You just can't. Like I remember, I played The Witcher the first day it came out for a little bit. I maybe got maybe a couple hours in the game. And then I had something else that I was really excited for release, and I played that. And so I played The Witcher maybe 6 months after it had been released. And what a difference, like in the improvements in the game, where it was the interface, the inventory systems, everything. And so I am glad in a sense that I waited that long to play The Witcher, because my second time around was a much better experience. Like the game was a lot cleaner, less buggy. And that's the unfortunate thing is that, when the game, even though The Witcher did very well as far as reviews went, a lot of these games, they come out really buggy in the beginning. Judgment has been passed. It's really hard to clean up the past. I mean, I'm trying to think of other games that had a similar issue where it was just a buggy mess. I mean, GTA Online was another one. It was horrid.
And now it's awesome.
Yeah.
I mean, have you guys played GTA Online recently? It's sick.
Yeah, there's a lot going on in GTA Online. There's tons of things to do.